The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
That as a child, I stumbled into Donald Bogle's Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar.
Do you remember his history of black women
Yes.
in arts and entertainment?
Love it.
And that, I wanted to do something for these times that he did for me.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to then put some contemporary touches into it. So hence the scrapbook,
Yes.
hence the chapter on reality
Reality
TV, because
TV, I
people
know.
don't know, in addition to, you mentioned my grade A clients like Oprah and Wendy,
Yes.
but I have also produced reality. I
Yes.
produced Keisha Cole's spinoff, Frankie and Neffy.
Right.
People, second highest rated reality
I know,
show
it
in the
was a
history of
hit.
BET.
Yes.
Not one of my crowning moments of achievement.
But that's
but
right, but
I
it was
did
successful,
it.
yeah.
And it was successful.
Yes,
and
it
I
was.
did it with all the earnestness that I
Yeah.
would do any
Anything
Oprah
else.
assignment or anything else.
That's
and
right. Kudos
I
to
also
you.
did Monica's reality show
Yeah,
that
that
I'm
was
still
great.
standing. That was
Yeah.
positive,
Yeah.
in line with my
Yes. With your whole ethos.
and actually that was another example of a takeaway. DuBose Productions, now which owns Fox Soul,
Yes.
this digital network that
Yes.
has a lot of urban content. James DuBose and his team came to me to produce Monica. And then they made a decision. They did like their calendar.
Yes.
And they said, we want to have the same production team on both shows.
Wow.
So in order for you to do Monica, you
Yeah.
have to do Frankie and Effie.
That's right.
It was an example of where that was the calculated yes
That's right.
that made sense.
The immediate versus the long term.
The immediate versus the long term.
you
So I
did it.
tolerated Keisha Cole's mom, Frankie, throwing that bottle of Tanqueray in my direction, et cetera,
It was a moment. It was just a moment.
There were
Passing,
moments.
fleeting moments.
And then I had that wonderful moment to work with Monica on what was her comeback album. And she'd be nominated for 2 Grammys, 3 number ones. I was in the studio with her while recording.
Amazing.
So,
Yeah.
it was
Great
worth
stories.
it. It was worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a bottle thrown at you. Okay, whatever. It was a
Tanqueray.
moment. Yeah,
It was
Tanqueray.
3/4 full.
Okay. My mother often...
We love you, Frankie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very special people. My mother often said to me, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. She, of course, said it in French. Dis-moi qui tu es, je te dirai qui tu es. So I grew up with that. Now, does that resonate with you? Do you surround yourself with certain people who feed you, nourish you, not feed you physically, but maybe, nourish you intellectually, psychologically, spiritually? Is that important? Does that resonate with you?
Energy. I'm an energy person.
So am I,
And
yeah.
I require the energy around me to reflect those frequencies that
Yes.
are positive and vibrating high.
Yeah. Yes, high vibe people.
And that actually required, Susan Taylor, I believe, said it best. One of the women who inspires me, former editorial director of Essence Magazine.
Yes.
When she had her In the Spirit column in Essence every month, and one of her quotes is, "Not everybody deserves a front row seat in your life."
She had the sayings, didn't she?
And I learned that early on.
That's
and
fantastic.
So in by my late 20s, my joke was, not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. So
Yeah.
the usher is going to come and escort you to the balcony. I will wave to you from afar.
Enjoy the show.
Enjoy
from up
the
there.
show, or pop on out to the to concession.
Right, exactly. Go get yourself some popcorn.
But you won't be in the front row anymore because you're not the energy I need for the
rest
orchestra.
That's right.
You know?
I love that.
Yeah, and I stand by it. And some people, they act as if I didn't say that or as if that's not what I mean.
Right. But it's what you mean.
Fast forward to these many years later, they know now.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
I think it's important to detox those type of people from your life. We talk about detoxing certain foods and, detoxing and not drinking, but I think we sometimes forget. We even talk about detoxing from technology and unplugging, but yet we seem to have a difficult time detoxing certain people from your life who don't serve you, who don't support your purpose, who don't elevate you, or you don't even need elevation, but who just aren't there for you.
And how much evidence do we need before we can then make that decision, right?
Right.
Because that's my piece.
It takes a minute.
It takes a minute for some of us, and I am an advising energy in my group, so they do come to me. But if they're coming to me with the same old song,
you might have to say something.
Then something has to be said,
true.
and they have to be steered to do something different because it's insane to do the same thing expecting a different result.
Yeah,
right?
That's like very Einstein.
Yes.
You wrote in your book that your mother, rest her soul, was the first diva you ever knew. Now, what are some of the lessons that you remembered from your mother, and how have they served you to this day?
Well, they continue to serve me. My mom, Queen Elizabeth Bellinger Riley, was the most amazing mom. And in our early years, I didn't realize, if before VCRs, if mom, and it was the summertime, if mom was working on whatever the day was, she came home to find out what happened on the stories from me. Do you know what I mean? Yes. My mom also sang in the church. I sang in the church in turn. So my mom was the one who, for the Easter speech, if all the other kids got whatever their words were, Jesus wept or whatever she's like, no, you're going to get a 2-page single line and you're going to memorize it.
Wow.
If I have to write it, I'll write it.
Wow.
So my mother was my first diva in those ways, my first momager in those kinds of ways. And then when it came time for me to sort of, choose a song that I'm going to sing for church.
Yes.
And I might pull something from Diana or Whitney, but I want to remix it for the Lord, you know.
Yes.
I'd work with my mom on those arrangements. I remember when we were in San Bernardino, California, whatever Air Force base we were on, people would find out, probably from my dad, that his wife sings, and she sings good gospel music like Mahalia Jackson. So often the officers would have her sing for special Black History Week programs. I think it was before it became a month.
Was there a day
it's already the shortest month. Thank goodness it's a leap year this year. Right? We get one more day. But so mom would. So I remember in '76 she did 77 she did "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone, and we worked together on how she could put that stank on it because Debbie Boone's version was cute. Well, Mama had to pop it out.
Shush it up.
You know what I mean? The way that Whitney would go on to do "I Will Always Love You" and all of those things.
Like the octaves and the ranges. Oh yeah.
So so my mom was that for me before I knew to
be that for yourself.
Be it for myself, and before I knew that I was taking it for granted.
Yes.
Because once it was gone, it was gone.
Yeah. That's it. You don't appreciate it while you have it.
You don't appreciate while you have it. But the blessing is that when the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists gave me one of my first competitive awards, it was for an interview I did with the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, at Good Day Atlanta. And it was when she took a rare trip to Atlanta because she was afraid to fly.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
she did a bus tour that brought her to Atlanta for the first time in 13 years. This was 1993, 94. And she wasn't in the mood for this interview. As you know, God rest her soul, but we know the Queen of Soul.
Yeah, when she's not in the mood.
When she's not in the mood, she's not
in the mood.
And I got her in the mood because I worked for the station that played Young and the Restless, and I knew that she loved
those stories.
The Young and the Restless and her Victor Newman. It was a big week.
Oh my gosh.
And I got her to warm up.
Yeah. By talking about the Young and the Restless.
So that I won that AABJ award, utilizing the warmth that she gave me on the Young and the Restless.
Based on the Young
I got that in there.
Yeah.
We talked about the other stuff, the career,
the
number ones.
Yeah.
But that was the piece that gave the piece life, that would have it win an award.
Oh my
and
gosh.
many years later, I would continue to be invited to her parties.
Oh my goodness.
She'd fly me in to Detroit for her birthday parties.
Yeah.
She would call me to see if I could help her, book this person or that person. Like, I know that you know them. Can you bring them to my party?
Wow.
She let me, at her last party in New York City, Central Park South, at the Ritz, she let me bring NBC cameras with me. NBC BLK is a vertical I contribute to. I got the last images of her at that last birthday party that she threw in New York. She died 2 years later, and the family invited me to the funeral. And she is front and center on this cover, which is another interesting dynamic, because there was another picture here, and by the time you get the artist sends you the stuff back.
That's right.
Aretha made the cut, and I'm so happy she did, because
She
there's
was
a
pivotal in
great
your
thread
life.
there. Women who inspire me, who on some level became friends.
Yes, and all because you and your mother liked to watch the stories and you
Because
discussed them,
we
so you had this.
loved the stories.
Thanks, Mom.
And so I got a high five from Mom.
Yes, you
At
did.
that event.
Yes.
Because she was still here. And so I was at the Carter Center. It was a big to-do.
She's still high-fiving you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No
yeah.
doubt. You have met, in addition to your mom,
Yeah.
and obviously Queen Aretha,
Yeah.
you've met many queens,
Yes.
many celebrities, many men and women who helped to shape your life.
Yeah.
Other than your mother, who would you say had the most impact on your success and on shaping who you are, other than your mother?
Diana Ross and Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
When I graduated high school, I was a graduation speaker.
Of
Shock.
course you were. Shocker.
Shock. And I, at the time, worked at the local TV station in Savannah as a teleprompter.
Yes.
So, I got my foot in early.
Yes, you did.
And the crew, the video crew, came to shoot their star teleprompter, who's graduating high school and is the graduation speaker.
Right.
And they said, "What will you do? Where will we find you in 10 years?" And I said, "Working with Oprah Winfrey and interviewing Diana Ross."
You said that?
I said that.
You
It's
manifested
on video.
it.
It's
There
on
it
video.
is.
10 years later, before my 10-year high school reunion, I was a senior field producer for the Oprah show. And Diana was one of the first assignments.
I mean,
So,
this is...
like, my classmates had tears in their eyes because they remembered the
You're
moment.
saying that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're a powerful manifester. You're going to have to teach me that. So you have worked primarily with women.
Primarily women. Obviously, having written a book on the women who inspired me, I plucked through a lot of assets that reveal that there are also a slew of men who inspire me.
Yes.
The women, because it's a special connection.
Yeah.
What was the question?
The question is, you've worked with a lot of women, and why is that important to you? And is it because they also served as mentors? They not only inspired you, but did they also serve as mentors?
They are also mentors. And as someone who, I didn't come out as LGBTQIA, LMNOP, we have a lot of letters. Representation matters.
Representation matters.
As I was figuring that piece out, coming from the Bible Belt, the South, church people.
Now that's another
it's a whole
history,
thing.
story of struggle. It's a situation.
The women were often allies to me as I was figuring it out.
Yeah.
But also, before I figured it out, when things were kind of built on the hetero norm of it all, they were protectors.
I was going to say, they also, I'm sure, protected you.
Very much protectors.
Yeah, advocated for you.
Advocators.
Yeah.
And yet again, when I speak of how we talk, these are the times of Me Too and we gender equity. These are all of our conversations.
Yes.
I wanted to contribute to it in my way.
In your way.
Because the value that these women are to me, were to me.
Yes, and still.
I know they're that for the culture.
Yeah.
I need to remind the people
This is true.
that they're that for the culture.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
And so well done.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. It's a
you.
great book. You've met, as we've discussed, many celebrities. You've documented them in your scrapbooks.
Yes.
And again, you have a scrapbook after every chapter, and every chapter is a category of people that you've met and you've had experiences
Yes.
with. It's
and
fantastic.
I should say, we not only have the singers and the actresses, we talk reality stars.
You do. You have TV anchors,
We talk TV
journalists,
talk show hosts.
Yes.
But I also talk about the creatives
Yes,
because
you do.
a lot of what is Black girl magic today
Yes.
is how much those like Mara Brock-Akil, Ava DuVernay,
Yes.
Shonda Rhimes,
Yes.
Casey Lemons, one of the first to do it, transitioning from being an actress to doing Eve's Bayou
Yeah.
to now Harriet and the Netflix
Amazing.
limited series on Madam C.J. Walker.
C.J. Walker. Oh my
But
gosh.
this is a woman I met doing Spike Lee's Drop Squad in Atlanta, and she was acting on that.
Wow.
And I was, I got a bit part in the movie,
Yes,
which
you
is how
did.
I got to meet her.
Yes.
But also, I was working at Good Day Atlanta at the time. So,
Yeah.
I was on the scene.
Yeah.
And to see what she has done and evolved into, I just had to do a chapter on creatives. Ava DuVernay, when I originally met her, she was a Hollywood publicist.
These are serious pivots.
These are serious pivots. She brought Jennifer Hudson to the Oprah show to promote Dreamgirls. This after she had me interview Jennifer Hudson 6 months prior to this Oprah show appearance
Yes.
for the National Association of Black Journalists.
Oh my
It was a
gosh.
moment.
Yeah.
It was like a moment, and they
Yeah.
said, and there was a joke that she won't be able to do, and I'm telling you, I'm not going. And I made that a joke with her. I said, but I can do it. You know what I mean? Right. So we had a little moment where she
Yes.
I hit the last note, and she
And
hit the
just-
last note with
yeah,
me.
that was great.
And but it was Ava who came to Oprah that day and said Patrick was first
Yes.
to see the magic that you were, to ensure that these folks here
Yes.
knew that they needed to book more than Beyonce and Eddie Murphy. Of
course.
Because these are people who didn't know the property Dreamgirls. They didn't know that it was adapted from a Broadway show.
Right, right. They
They
were
didn't
just
know
like,
that
"It's Dreamgirls!"
you get it. And Beyonce and Eddie Murphy are in it with
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx.
Right.
And there was more care that they needed to put into how they presented it.
Right.
And it was Ava DuVernay, the publicist,
Back then.
who saw that
Amazing.
in me and is now a renowned
Star.
superstar director.
Amazing. Absolutely
On my
amazing.
timeline. I had
Yes.
to write about it.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Because
and you
I don't-
did so
it's going to
beautifully.
get lost in the sauce otherwise.
Yeah, it is now documented. Library of
documented.
Congress. It's a wrap. It's
Yes.
done. It's there.
It's there.
So, what is your favorite entertainment story, and what is your favorite red carpet moment? I'm going to just go into a little bit of fun now that we're down to the last few
The
questions.
favorite entertainment, I'd say
Yes.
Legends.
the Legends
working
Ball.
for Oprah,
Ooh.
it was dream assignment after dream assignment.
Yes.
From Tina Turner's Wildest Dreams to Dr. Maya Angelou in the Sculpture Garden in North Carolina. I mean, I've had great assignments, but that Oprah's Legends Ball, the historic event where she honored probably every iconic Black woman known to man,
Yes.
alongside having a tier of youngins there who
Yes.
were also legendary,
Yes.
like Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen and
Yeah.
Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell
I mean,
and
what an
Kathleen Battle. It was just a dream. And I said to her, I said, I'm happy your legends were my legends because I'm done.
Yeah.
But thank goodness I wasn't done, because 3 years later, there was a great red carpet moment. Well, let me just quickly say for Legends,
Yeah.
the rule was whoever you get on day one of this 3-day event,
Yes.
don't bother them on day two. Whoever you get on day two, don't bother them on day three.
Got it.
Get a little sound
Yeah,
from
from
everybody in
everyone.
the course of the 3 days.
Yes.
I talked to Miss Ross all 3 days. I didn't care what the rules were.
Right.
And she talked to me.
Does the ball still happen? Does she still have it?
No, it's not an annual thing. It was
Oh.
really a once in a lifetime thing. She did another one some years later for civil rights
Mm. Yes.
leaders.
Yeah.
It was a little more tailored and narrow, but
Yeah.
that goes down as like a Gatsby ball.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know, it
Yeah.
was, and it was where we introduced Barack
Dr. Shirley
Obama
Madhere. Oh, Barack
and
Obama, right.
Michelle Obama
Oh, right. Yeah, the Obamas.
to
right.
the mix,
Yeah,
to
not
the
Dr.
to
Shirley
the Black
Madhere, yeah.
Hollywood mix.
Yes. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Look,
if she has one again, I'm so going to be there.
absolutely, you would
Okay.
have to be. And she'd have to have me back.
Absolutely. I'd bring you with me.
Tyler Perry, I did not attend, but I was the one who at the gospel brunch on Oprah's
Yes.
property who said to him, you're beginning to work with many of these women. I know black women mean a lot to you, similar to how they mean to me.
Yes.
What's on your heart right now? That was the moment in which he said, I need to begin to dream bigger. And that bigger dream for him was
His
Tyler
own
Perry
production
Studios.
company. I mean, oh my gosh, major. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good.
The clip, I'm told, with that they used and showed at the event, even though I didn't get the invite. But that's another story.
Sorry. We have so many stories. Okay, your favorite red carpet moment before I ask.
Oh, yes. Barry Gordy and Diana Ross at the opening of Motown the Musical on Broadway. I was hired by Motown the Musical to be its host for their opening night red carpet, a
Yes.
video that travels to this day whenever the show is on the road.
Yes.
Because they use it as kind of hype for the production, because
Yes.
it was on that night where all the Motown greats came,
Yes.
all the A-listers came. And so Diana and Barry have gotten out of their limo together.
Of course.
And 46th Street is rocking.
Yeah.
And I'm having to excuse myself from Miss Gladys Knight.
no.
And she's like, there, that lady is taking
Yeah.
my shine again.
Again, yeah.
Thank you, Miss Knight.
Thank you, Miss
Miss
Knight.
Ross is
Yeah.
here.
Exit.
And
Stage
Miss
left.
Ross is approaching, and she says, watch out for him, BG, as in Barry Gordy.
Wow.
She's saying, watch out for him, BG,
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
He's got a memory of steel.
Oh my gosh.
Miss Ross knows that I have a memory of steel.
Yes, she knows you,
Wow.
yeah.
OMG.
OMG.
And then
Very
she had
nice.
not seen the show at that point. I said to her, have you seen any part of it? She says, I've not seen any part of it. She says, but I'm going to have to tell you what I think afterwards. At the after party at Roseland Ballroom, she found me to tell me what she thought. Like,
Yeah.
Diana Ross is looking
That's
for
a good
me.
Aries woman for you. Follow up.
Loyal follow up, and I give
Yeah.
her, and I boost her ego
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just to specs.
Yes, that's right.
Just to specs. Yeah.
Wow. You've been working in this fabulous entertainment industry for 25 years. Now, from your perspective, I think everyone can agree that the industry has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one bullet point about the industry, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, I think the good is that the playing field is leveled in that we can all do what we do. I'm here on your podcast because
Yes,
you're owning
thank you. Yes.
and you're able to invest in yourself to have a platform
Yes.
for us to have these conversations.
Yes, please.
That's what's new.
Yeah.
That's what's good about
Yes,
it.
it's true.
What's bad about it is in the immediacy of it all, sometimes we do lose context.
Yeah.
Sometimes we lose that skill set. That it doesn't mean that anybody can't be a talk show host,
Right.
but just what would it be for if we're going to take these steps?
Yeah.
What would it be for us to be more thoughtful about
Yes.
it?
Yes.
What would it be for us to dot our I's and cross our T's?
And be more deliberate.
More deliberate.
Yeah.
And I do find that the young folks in particular are less patient to go the paces. They look at me they don't know the hurdles I went through to get this
Yes.
book done
Yeah.
or to live the life to then get the book done.
Right.
They just sort of say, you did that, I want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dr.
It's
Shirley,
interesting.
Dr. Shirley, I want a podcast.
Yeah.
Versus,
I want to be a plastic surgeon. Go ahead.
for
a few years, but-
example, or I want to work for Oprah because I remember all those years, people didn't know that was a demanding
Yeah.
client.
Yeah.
Amazing work, dream
Yeah.
assignment
As it
after
should have
dream
been.
assignment.
As it should have been.
But let me tell you, it was very much a jump
was
out
work.
high. I could be having dinner with friends in New York City,
And you get the
and
call.
I'm paid to be on call.
Yeah.
So they say, hey, can you catch this flight to London tomorrow to interview the face behind Jimmy Choo?
Wow.
Now, that's exciting on one hand, but it's like, oh, I was supposed to be off tomorrow, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
blah.
forget it.
These are not those conversations.
No.
So, or my friends saying, wait a minute, they have to give you some notice. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Now, granted, am I flying first class?
Yeah.
Are the accommodations great?
Yes.
If anything goes wrong with travel, is there
Right.
someone there to fix it?
Yes.
So I always made the joke that Oprah paid for the headache.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes, she
mean?
did.
The headache that is
That's right.
high
She
in
also gave you the
production.
aspirin.
Gave you the aspirin and the 8-day all expenses paid vacation to Maui.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or
Yes.
the trip around the world.
Right.
These are all real things. But
Does she need a plastic surgeon on staff?
no, she doesn't. She's perfect.
She's
as
perfect,
is.
but I'm just saying,
How
you know,
dare you?
in case she changed her mind
How
about
dare
an
you?
eyelash, you know, I can definitely be on call for her.
Happy to refer you. I'm happy to refer you. So I just think it's really important that we kind of all take the time
Yes.
to enjoy these technological advances
Yes.
that are allowing us to be in
fabulous.
our own spotlight, our
Right.
fabulous spotlight.
Yeah.
But responsibility is key.
Because of that quote, in dreams begin responsibilities. It goes back to Yates.
You
Okay.
get it.
Speaking of Miss Oprah, tell me about the time that Miss Oprah and her team actually, what do they call it? They crossed the fourth.
They broke the fourth wall.
Yeah, that's it. They broke the fourth wall.
Turned the
and
camera
that's
on
right.
me.
When did she turn the camera on you? What was that about?
I've had many times she's turned the camera on me, but the time that you could hear a pin drop
Yes.
from Savannah, Georgia, is
Yeah.
when she asked me to. I was assigned as a field producer to interview a number of people on when they knew they were gay. So there are a lot of people who they booked for me to interview here in New York, and I think whoever the assigning producer was had that debrief meeting
Yes.
with Oprah to say, "This is what we're doing." And they're like, so Patrick's in New York. He's going to interview this one, this one, this one. And these interviews that he's doing are going to come in and out of the commercials. Blah, blah, blah. You're going to have Carson Kressley in studio with you. We'll have a segment later on with Billy Porter.
Yeah.
And she says, well, could there be more diversity on who he's interviewing?
Yeah.
And then the thought was, see if he'll, he's great on camera. He's a talent.
Yeah.
See if he'll tell his story.
And that's part of Miss Oprah's genius. She was like, hold on a minute. I know a little something, something, and I know someone who might be able to represent diversity.
And I'm like, does she know where I come from? And even though my family in Savannah knows I'm gay,
Not the whole Bible Belt didn't.
they would not care that I tell
the
the
whole
World Wide Web
Yeah.
on Oprah. And but I made the decision to do it. I did it. It ran. It got lots of beautiful feedback, but I did not get feedback from my family. They were embarrassed at best, you know?
Wow.
The positive thing, going back to these takeaways,
Yes.
I'm sure I've got about 5 takeaways in here
Yes.
that I've given
At a
along
minimum.
the way. I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I pushed through the disappointment that they had for me about it.
Yes.
Because 3 months later, we won a GLAAD award. That's the Anti-Defamation League
Another
award.
example.
Positivity.
You said yes when you weren't feeling
when
comfortable.
I wasn't feeling comfortable. It was an uncomfortable yes that made sense. And then 6 months later, at the opening night of Color Purple, same night I met my partner, Ant, of 14
Yes.
years.
Big up, Anthony.
That night, someone said to me as I'm waiting on David Letterman to escort Oprah from the Ed Sullivan Theater over to the theater where Color Purple was premiering.
Yes.
They were right next to each other,
next to each
54th and Broadway. And this white guy says, Patrick Riley. Because, Oprah has super fans. Like Diana has, like
You had
Beyonce has the
paparazzi.
tribe.
Yeah.
Oprah's got a tribe, and they're like fans, and they
Yes.
were waiting on her to come
Yeah.
out that door, and they were going to
Yes.
wait until they got a
I'm
shot.
an Oprah fan. I'm not lying.
And they're like Patrick Riley, like they're calling me by my name because
Yeah.
they know the underlings too, right? Oh. And he says, you saved my life. When I knew I was gay, you saved my life.
Oh my gosh.
So like, why would I
Done.
get caught up in my family's insane shame
Yeah.
and what that backwards way of homophobic
Right.
thinking is?
Right.
Because there was a bigger mission,
You
know?
saved someone's life.
Save someone's
You
life.
changed someone's life.
Affirmed, was a disruptor to the
Yeah.
industry, which is
Yeah.
what the GLAAD Awards is. We honor
Wow.
people who are disruptors,
Yeah. For positive
willing to
change.
show positive change.
Absolutely.
That is what I focus on.
Wow.
They came around to saying we saw it or whatever they said, but it
Yeah.
didn't matter
Yeah.
because it then becomes for me my new way of seeking validation.
That's right.
Internal first,
Yes.
external,
important.
like
Last.
up there,
Yeah.
and then the more immediate external, far at the end.
Wow. Wow. I mean,
And I love to retell it because it's usually, they'll hear these podcasts. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm going to be, I told you soing all the time for Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner.
You have permission
But
to
I
do
want
so.
to speak it. I've been speaking it on this press
Yes.
tour because I know it's going to help people.
yeah, it will.
I know it's going to, and it might even soften their hearts.
Yeah, ripple effects. Keep
But that's
doing
not
what
my
you do.
focus.
No. Eyes on the prize. Stay focused. So, second to last question.
Yes.
You've got a serious karaoke game.
Yes.
I've done karaoke with you, not as well.
Yes. Yes.
How did that start? What do you love about it?
Well, I travel my franchise, AllStar Karaoke, from venue to venue.
Yeah.
We started it at Native, which is no longer. Then we went to Billy's Black, which has been
Yes.
revamped into B Squared. We then took it to Mist Harlem.
Yes, you did.
And we take it different places in Harlem with the vision. It was Anthony, my partner's vision, that the people were originally asking me to do a networking night. And I said, but Ant's thing is like, you network all the time. Like, you're a natural networker. You're an organic networker. Why don't you do something that you enjoy? I enjoy karaoke. I enjoy singing.
Yeah.
And Ant said, let's make it all-star karaoke because then you can invite your friends
Yes.
who really sing. So on any
How
day.
did I get on that invitation?
Well, this is the thing. So it's about having a room of fabulous people like Dr. Shirley. Who may or may not be able to sing.
Right.
They might just appreciate the experience,
Right.
right? And then we have people who, we would try to do it on nights where our friends from Broadway could participate.
Oh.
Because, I have a lot of friends on Broadway,
Yes,
so they'll
yes.
come and sing and have fun,
Right,
but
right.
sing good, but sing
Right.
good.
Yeah, they
I
sing
have
really
friends
well.
and clients and publicists who have great talent.
Yes.
Like Kiki Wyatt,
Right.
Tashina Arnold. People have come, like, we would say, we never know who's going to come.
Right.
Now I take it on the road.
Yes.
I'm hosting the LGBT Music Fest Memorial Day weekend for the 5th year in a row.
Wow.
And in addition to hosting the Vanguard Awards, where I get
Yes.
to honor a lot of women who are in the book, I've honored Shirley Ralph, Brandy, Jody Watley, a number of other, Shanice. I get the opportunity to do an all-star karaoke pop-up. And
great.
so we do. So last year we had, 2 years ago, we had Tweet in the All-Star Karaoke pop-up. We had Monifa. We had Gordon Chambers.
Oh, my gosh.
This most recent year we had Shanice, Frenchie Davis,
did
Frank
it big.
Gatson,
Oh, you did
who
big.
did some choreography for the Boss Choir. We always do Diana Ross the Boss, but we do it as a choir. And so I call it the Boss Choir. And so the great thing about this is there's a little boy, a beautiful couple of young men who I met via this LGBT Music Fest. They have
Yes.
2 young boys.
Yes.
And their youngest, Jameer, I want to say is his name, when they hosted a party for me during Congressional Black Caucus for the book,
Yes.
when the Uber pulls up to their place, the kid comes out and says, Mr. Patrick, I want to join the Boss Choir. This last Memorial Day, the Boss Choir starts. I'm not thinking about the kid in that moment.
Yeah.
He rushes up as soon as it starts. I said, the babies want to be in the Boss Choir. Now,
Yeah.
the
new
full
generation.
circleness of that.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if I were a little boy who was excited about being in somebody's Boss Choir that I
Yeah.
would have had the courage to say,
Yeah.
I want to be in the Boss Choir. Because somebody would have said, go sit down
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
When I looked at Fame with Leroy, Gene Anthony Ray, and
Yes.
Debbie Allen, you got
Yes.
Fame, you've got Big Dreams, you want
Right.
Fame.
Fame.
Right here is where,
It started.
okay. My people I'd do those high kicks just like Leroy. My middle name is Leroy. It was perfect.
Yes.
But they wouldn't let me dance.
wouldn't
I
let
got
you
to do
do it.
musical theater.
But that was it.
But it stopped at the tights.
That's okay. We love your karaoke. And I was so honored and grateful to
Yeah.
have been invited because I didn't sing so well, even though I was a second soprano in high school. But I tried.
There will be more,
There will
and
be
I look
more.
forward to seeing you in the place with your forever
Thank
fabulousness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question, darling, for fun and ha-has and kikis. But again, another lesson
Yes.
from you to our listeners. This is the Fab Five. What are your top 5 recommendations for living a fabulous life? And don't even think about it. Just rattle
Just
them
go
off.
with it.
Just
I
go with
say
it. Number
it's-
one.
Number one is stay the course.
Yes.
Because there's nothing more fabulous than results-oriented fabulosity.
Ooh, results-oriented fabulosity. I wrote it
Nothing more
down.
sexy. Okay, the second thing is to always find that place to the place of gratitude.
Yes.
You know, whatever that looks like. I speak to my entertainment diary. I speak to things like Ilana Van Zant's Acts of Faith. Whatever that thing is that can connect you on a daily basis.
Yes, daily.
With gratitude and with your worth. All that
agree.
all that works together.
Yes.
The third thing is, what is the thing that brings you joy?
Yes.
Because the thing that brings you joy could very well be a revenue stream.
True.
Kind of like my karaoke.
That's
Do you know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
The fourth thing is hydrate. Hydrate.
You're saying that because you're talking to a doctor.
No,
I like it though.
I mean, I just think it's very important that we hydrate because I think it's just so easy to just not be
to forget
focused
about it.
on that.
How was your champagne?
For example, but I'm going to have a water on my way out.
Yes, you'll follow up with a couple of glasses of water.
And that's kind of what I mean. In this era of drinking and cocktails and bottomless brunches, I feel like we're forgetting to hydrate.
Yeah. Water.
Water.
I hear you.
And
Number 5.
Fifth thing is dance like nobody's watching.
Yes. And even if someone is, who cares?
And even if someone is, who cares? And that's metaphorical, you know.
I love that. So those are now going down in the archives. Library of Congress, Forever Fab podcast by Patrick Riley. You've been listening to The Path of Dreams, Fulfillment and Responsibility. My interview with the fabulous Patrick Riley. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your spirit, your stories.
Thank you so much for having me. You gave me an opportunity to reflect in a way that I don't often get the chance to. And this book and the press surrounding it has really given me a chance to know that, I did good. And I'm happy that
you did
I
great.
bet on myself.
And I'm betting on you too, as I always have. Congratulations on your book, on your life. More stories to come, I'm sure. Please come back and tell us more.
Absolutely. And if folks will also tune into my talk show, the Happy Hour Talk Show.
Happy Hour Talk Show.
We have a season 2 coming, and you can find it on IG at the Happy Hour Talk Show. 5 professional gay guys. We shoot at Melba's in Harlem, and we talk about all the uncomfortable stuff.
You dish.
So we have 4 new episodes in the can. Look for us spring 2020.
I'm coming for you. And for more fascinating stories of inspiration and celebration, please buy Patrick's book. That's What Friends Are For, on the women who inspired me. It's available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and wherever fabulous books are sold. And for holistic beauty tips or to set up an appointment to see me, and maybe hear some stories about me, but no one else. If you want to discuss your beauty transformation, your wellness, or even plastic surgery, dare I say, please go to elementsandgraces.com. Patrick, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shirley.
Again, it's
Shirley,
been
much love.
fabulous. Much love.
Much love.
Much love. Thank you, dear audience, for listening to this week's episode of the Forever Fab podcast. Until next time, stay beautiful and, of course, fabulous inside and out. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.